We're Malin and Johan, a Swedish couple that have been sailing full-time since 2016. After 3.5 years of sailing, we welcomed our daughter Vera on board. In 2022, we moved into Sunhill Farm and started building our next boat from scratch. We're a bit over a year into the build now, and we are doing the last jobs on the hull before it's time to turn it over.
It will be like a square wheel where the whole hull sits in the middle of that.
After many weeks of fairing and sanding the hull, we have started painting the hull with a barrier coat. We're back in business, almost. We're not fully well yet, but pretty much. So we're starting a new work week with Johan sanding and longboarding the keel pocket, and I am gonna do something that we've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm gonna take down the blue plastic. We're going to keep the plastic, so I folded it before we put it away. The hull popped even more now when the plastic is gone. And it's nice to have more natural light in the barn again.
So I've more or less finished sanding now in the keel pocket, the first round of fairing, which is applied with the toothed spatula, as you can see. And this speeds things up quite a bit, because now I only have to sand the top of these ridges to get a fair curve in here. I have used this sled sander, if you can call it that. So it rides on the sides here, because I want to have a totally flat area in this direction, but I want to follow the curve of the hull in this direction. And by using these pretty rigid oak planks here in the middle, and the exact thickness that I want to have, or the depth that I want to have in the keel pocket is the same as the thickness of this wood here. And then I let it ride on the sides here. I sand, and then I turn it around, and I sand on this side as well. And then I've been using the longboard a little bit as well. So now I have sanded off the tops of these ridges. And I will use this steel brush in the valleys to get rid of any amine blush that might have formed before I apply the next layer of fairing. And the next layer will be with just a normal spatula, so I will fill the valleys now and build up an even layer up until the top of these ridges.
The day after, when the fairing had cured, Johan could sand the surface.
Now, it feels great now to have the full space of the barn again without these plastic walls, and also really nice to have the view through the window. Really helps with the, it's a much nicer working environment in here now. And it seems like spring is here, which is also nice. It's been a really long winter. It's been a lot of cold days out here in the barn, so I'm really looking forward to the warmer season now. Yesterday I added what I'm hoping to be the last layer of fairing in the keel pocket. Been doing quite some sanding up there now. So now hopefully I only need to sand it one more time, and then that area should be finished also for barrier coat. But it's not hard enough, so I can't start sanding on it today. So I'm thinking today we will continue adding barrier coat to the rest of the hull. But before we can start painting, we need to do some prep work. I need to get the hull dust free since I've been sanding the keel pocket. There's a lot of dust up on the hull now. And then we need to wipe it down with alcohol. And we also need to sand this transition area from the bow area where we already have barrier coat, so there will be a smooth transition.
A little bit cold today, it's windy, and now the wind is coming from the west and it's blowing pretty much straight through the walls. Now when we remove the plastic, but we're gonna get warm pretty soon because now we're gonna start painting the hull. We'll try to do the rest of the hull today.
Fin den här hallen.
Ja.
Den är fin här.
Ja.
Tänk att vi inte såg den i början.
Nej, just det.
Det var så jävla överblicksat.
Studiebuskaget.
Johan tried the sock tip to cover his wrists that we got in the comment section on last week's episode. The painting went smooth and was pretty straightforward and easy.
Nice to take off the mask. So we finished on the port side of the hull. It went pretty fast. What time is it now? Could it take like two hours? A bit less.
A bit more, I should say.
A bit more.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5 hours. I have to go and pick up Vera now. So Johan is going to continue on the other side, and we'll see how late he can work tonight, if we can finish or not.
What time is it? It's yeah, almost 8. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, there are a few runs like up here. It's quite easy to get a bit too much of the epoxy, and if you don't see that in time, it's really better to just let it sit, because if you go back there and you start rolling on top of it, it will just be a mess. Like I said, I'm going to sand this whole surface later on before it's time for the next coat, and yeah, it will look quite different when it's time for the top coat. You can see that transition area here from the stuff I did the other day and the fresh stuff. Worked really good with the socks. It's a rainy day today. We have a hull with one color on the whole thing, except for the keel pocket, and that's what I'm going to finish today. Hopefully the last bit of sanding that I'm doing on the hull for now, so we can get some barrier coat in that area as well. And then it's time to start making that template of the future keel plate. And hopefully I can start doing that in the beginning of next week. And once that is finished, the hull is more or less ready for being flipped over. So then that whole process starts, building those square wheels, getting the Strongback ready for lifting the hull and mounting some wheels so we can get it out of here. So yesterday we got the wheels that we're going to use on the Strongback, so we can get the boat rolled out of here. These wheels are rated at 1,400 kilos each, and we have 8 of them, so a bit over 11 tons in total, which is well enough for the weight we have in the hull right now. Right now the whole thing weighs around 3 tons, and that's including the Strongback and all the temporary frames and the hull. The hull alone is somewhere between 1.5 to 1.6 tons at the moment, so not a lot really. And the reason we decided to go with this type of wheel is that we can use them for more than one thing. We looked into having axles with car wheels mounted on the Strongback, but then we could really only use them for getting the boat out, and that's it. And my thinking with this type of wheels is that we have the option now to mount 4 wheels on each cradle box, so we can use them in the future as well when it's time to get the boat out of here once it's finished. So we'll have brackets on those cradle boxes, so we can mount 4 wheels per box. Of course, you could also play with the thought that you could move the boat around in here once you have the wheels on, since you can change the direction on these, but I'm not so sure about that. The only downside with this type of wheel is, of course, that the ground pressure on this type of wheel is pretty high, since it's a narrow wheel and not very big in diameter. So it needs some sort of track to roll on once we're outside of the barn, since we don't have a concrete slab out there. In here, I think it's perfectly fine, but we need some sort of track where the boat is going to roll. And of course, the easiest option would be to just lay down some U-shaped beams on the ground that the wheels could roll in. And I looked into that, but the downside is that they are pretty heavy and expensive. You could rent them, but then you still have to get them trucked here, and you need a crane to lift them off because they are very heavy. So now I'm looking into maybe build something out of plywood with fiberglass, because the actual pressure on them now won't be that high, since the whole thing is only 3 tons, and divided by 8, that's really not a problem. In the future though, when the boat is around 10 tons, then we might have to use U-shaped steel beams instead. I really like this option, and like I said, we're going to mount them directly on the Strongback with 4 bolts through the Strongback and a backing plate up on top. And yeah, we have 2 different widths on the Strongback, so we will have 6 wheels at the same I'd say track distance, and then 2 wheels up in the front, which will be more narrow. So hopefully we will be successful in using this type of wheels. The actual wheel here is made from nylon, so it can take quite a lot of abuse without cracking. So it's not brittle, even if it's plastic. It's a lot more slippery up here now with the barrier coat, so I really have to take care not falling down. That would have been a real pity, this close to flipping the hull after all this time and work that we have put in. So I think this is it for this week's episode. Thanks a lot for watching, and a big thank you to all of our patrons for supporting our videos, and of course everybody else who support us in different ways. Next week I really hope we can get into more of the details on how we're going to flip the hull over and the whole process surrounding that. So take care, and we hope to see you next Friday. Bye bye.